This episode contains the following topics: substance abuse and suicide. Listener discretion is advised. Check out the show notes for more information. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Jess, for requesting that song. For those now tuning in, we're taking requests. The lines are open. Call us on 007 008. Who do we have here, Matt?
Levi, and he wants to request a song for his older brother. Isn't that right, Levi?
Yes. Hi.
How old are you, Levi?
14.
Isn't it a bit late for you to be awake, Levi? Why are you requesting this song?
For my brother. He has to work all day tomorrow.
Him and me both.
I want to request a song in solidarity with the miners who died in the collapse. My brother says the Van Leerkroos are responsible.
Thank you for that. We'll add your song to the list. Let's have a look at our written messages. Matt?
What about Levi? Let him talk.
We can't have the audience spreading lies on live radio. Read the next message, Matt.
Now we are spreading lies.
Okay, we're going to listen to the next song that Lena requested. She's in love. Ooh. And hope they'll hear this song. This one is for you, Edward. Let Lena know how you feel about her. Good luck with your romantic conquest, Lena.
Midnight with Matt and Mason. Yeah!
There's a rot in the heart of this city.
New Vilirth Metropolitan warns about the dangers of a new drug overtaking the streets.
The government launched a campaign against the use of neomorphic memories.
This city's nothing but copper and visions of the past.
It's a black day. For all of us.
Who doesn't dream of the times gone by?
Unsavory figures can no longer hide in the shadows.
Such is my promise.
Wake Up, New Vilirth, Chapter 7. In the Dust. 124,005 on the charts. To the Inisdara mainland, please. I placed a request form on the counter. The man behind the desk looked at me over the rim of his glasses before taking the paper. He read every line carefully.
That will be 113,793 coparium shards after registration and shipping costs. And an extra 2,000 for the fast shipping. The currency change will be done once it arrives in Inisdara, and you will receive the receipt at your home address.
What? No, it won't cost that much. The shipping rate is 6.1%.
There was a change in the rates last moon, miss. Travel is getting more treacherous.
The man behind the desk tapped the flyer that hung behind him. 8.6?
Costs are always changing, miss.
He looked at the form.
Oh, foul lad.
Oh, fowler. He tapped the desk. I sighed and placed a stack of notes on the counter. I then had to dig through my bag for the rest of the money, robbing me nearly dry. The clerk started counting, pausing at every note to feel it and check it against a small light on his desk. I watched him as the stack of counted notes grew taller on his desk.
I will also be needing your registration card.
I handed it over. It underwent the same scrutiny as the money had. The man took a stamp out of the drawer and went through the process of cleaning the stamp meticulously, taking out an ink pad, cleaning that, putting the stamp on the pad, allowing the ink to soak in, setting it down on the form, taking it off the paper, scrutinizing it, and then waiting for every spot of ink to dry. I waited impatiently, tempted to do it myself.
A signature here, please.
He pointed at a line under his stamp. I did as he asked.
Do you want to leave a personalized message?
No. That was it, right? He frowned at me and then gave a slow nod.
Mm-hmm. That was it.
I stepped out of the post office and into the mall. This shopping center was one of the few above-ground facilities still in use. It was 3 stories high with columns reaching all the way to the ceiling. To me, the mall had seemed like the pinnacle of the big city the first time I came here with my father. and to this day, it impressed me. The post office was at the highest level of a circular hall with a glass dome as a roof. At one point, the sun would have flooded this place, but I had never seen it like that. All the windows had been boarded up for a long time. Half of the shops were closed. Some promised to reopen soon, but the yellowing notices and broken windows told a different story. Still, it was always crowded here. People flooded the shops from the underground entrance that led straight into the mall. I moved against the stream of people towards the stairs. My mind wandered and I let my feet lead me home. I turned the lock of my door before the morning traffic slowed down. The piece of cloth I'd nailed over the window bulged in the soft breeze of wind. One edge had come loose. More dust than usual was coming inside. I was sick of it. I had to sweep the floors twice a day. But the money I could have spent on repairing the window was now waiting to be shipped overseas. I tugged at the cloth and tautened it around the nail. The fabric ripped further. It was no use.
I'll send someone to fix that.
I whipped around, gun in my hand, before the sentence was even finished. My pistol almost touched Rhea's nose. Fuck! Rhea! I put the safety back on the gun and tucked it away. Don't do that!
I didn't mean to.
Rhea held up her hands.
That's the second gun I've had pointed at me today.
It's your own bloody fault. I pushed past her to fill my kettle with water. I filled it for exactly 1 cup.
Have you thought about Van Leerkov's offer?
Rhea didn't respond. I looked up from the kettle.
We need more work. If we're turning down his offer,
I fell silent. What was I going to do? I could beg to get my old job back, but I doubted much had changed there, even if I could get over my pride.
I have thought about it.
And? I turned the water off before it boiled and scooped some char into my cup.
I'm taking the job.
Oh, good. Right, good.
I was half relieved, half anxious about what that meant. Rhea stayed silent.
Rhea?
I can give you a cut to make up for what we lost on our travels. I'll do the same for Tuula.
What are you talking about? I should hope you are paying us with what that Van Leerkov boy is willing to spend.
I'm taking this job on my own. You're not coming.
Of course we are.
While I do agree that all our bases were covered between the 3 of us on our hunting trip, I don't think that's the case with this job. It's not defending against possible monsters that will definitely be a monster. A big one. I need fighters.
I am a fighter. The moment I said the words, I realized how childish they sounded. Rhea didn't respond. She let me sit in my embarrassment.
And Lou?
I'll pay her to make some weapons.
Years ago, when I still traveled to New Vilirth with my father every couple of moons, one of my father's clients had gotten in trouble with the Razanen family. Finding him missing one of his hands had left quite an impression on me. The infected stump had stank of rot under the bloody bandage. I thought it disgusting, but also exhilarating that one family had so much power. Although my father had never said it out loud, mostly not to edge on his already prickly client, I knew he thought the same. Every now and then I was reminded of that power. They might hide in the dark of the underground, but they loomed like a shadow over upper New Vilirth. That allure hung around Rhea when I first met her, and sometimes it still did. On a good day, I wouldn't have dared argue with her. Today wasn't one of those days.
So that's it then. We didn't do our job properly and now you're off to find another squad. Good luck finding people insane enough to join you.
Naturally, you'll be compensated for your work over the past moons. I won't forget that.
I slammed down my mug. Jar spilled over the sides.
Keep your damn money.
Don't be childish. You will get what you need, and you will be alive to spend it however you like.
We are doing this together. As a team. He came to us, didn't he? Not just you. He wanted us to help. All 3 of us.
It's been decided, Willow.
The discussion was over. My cheeks grew hot. I turned on my heels and I stormed out. The slam of the door followed me all the way down the stairs. My legs were outrunning my thoughts and my anger. or trying to. That your house will fall upon you. Fool. I walked, nearly ran past the market towards the south exit of the underground. With every step to the surface, the heavy smells faded, replaced by a combination of steam and salt. The wind tried to push me back into the tunnels, but I didn't allow it. The sea wasn't visible from where I stepped out of the underground, but I smelled it and heard it and felt it. My stomping changed into a fast stride and then slowly into a walk as I deflated. Part of my anger faded. I followed the road leading towards the boulevard. I passed the docks where workers shouted at each other. Hot winds whipped at my hair. The sun burned. If I didn't know the consequences, I would have dipped into the sea. Shipments no longer came in regularly, and boats had to be remade every few moons after they were pulled to the depths by the monsters that roamed the sea. And then there was the water. We called it the Sour Sea. It slowly ate at whatever touched it. Nothing could make it long, even if they didn't get attacked by something. This had once been the thrumming heart of New Vilirth's economy. It hadn't completely disappeared. I watched as the workers hauled long planks. Like the workers in the mine, these people had come to New Vilirth hoping for better chances and ended up stuck here, in grueling conditions under even more grueling command. The port wasn't pretty. Beaches had been replaced by concrete, first for easier access, and then it was built higher against the storms, against the tsunamis. Wave breakers appeared as the water retreated, and then disappeared again under the surface. Still, I have always felt freer here, close to the sea. I turned around to watch New Vilirth as it lay behind me. I would like to see it from the sea again someday. I sat down at the edge of the water. Workers shouted at each other above the crashing sound of the sea and crackling of music from a work radio. I watched as they hauled cargo from a large ship. It didn't look much better than our hover had upon our return. After I'd been sitting there for a few minutes, I heard flashes from the news coming from the radio. Some words were carried away on the wind, but it was the same message they had been repeating for the past day. Every bell.
Rescue workers have been unable to find a safe way into the mines. This morning, a spokesman told us they have started installing a lift over the shaft the miners are in. They will use it to get food and water to the miners to sustain them until they find a safer way in. That was the news. We will return with more information when we can. This was Karina Sevelin from NVBC.
Have you spoken to Jason lately?
He didn't reply to my invite for tonight. I assumed he was busy with work.
You didn't know? He's no longer working.
He quit?
This was one of the ads that had been repeating over and over. The anti-memory campaign was relentless. By now, I knew every word to this ad.
Well, actually, he was fired.
And then it clicked.
Is it because of the memories?
Oh, that's it.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? Get out of there, lad.
I blinked and stood up. But not because of what the man just said. I'd show her. I'd show her I could be of use. I was insane. There was no other word for it. Yet a small flame inside of me ignited at the idea, and that small flame had now led me here. I used the key that I should have handed in when I was fired from the paramedics. In the chaos of the layoffs, no one had noticed my stuff hadn't been brought back. It was out of resentment at first, and after that it would have been too awkward to bring up. Turned out, it now came in handy. The room was silent as the dead, which made sense seeing as it was filled with them. I managed to chuckle at my lame joke. I climbed onto the strap of my bag and stepped towards the metal doors lining the wall. I'd combed through the administration. It was vague on several of these bodies, almost as if they were trying to hide information. 36, 37, 43... I scanned the numbers next to the doors. One of these, I guess. I opened the door with number 47, putting my weight into it. I pulled the metal bed with the body on it out. The wheels jingled happily on the rails as the body rolled out. Bingo. Evening, sir. He was a mine worker, all right. They had done their best to clean him. At least they had given him that last respect. He was large with a square face and dark curls, but what gave him away as a miner were the calluses on his hands. He was in bad shape. What was left of his arms was mangled and unrecognizable. His chest had a gaping hole in it. He must have had a run-in with the crania. Exactly what I needed. Still, I hesitated. When you were in the job, you sort of got used to it. Or at least numb. But it had been a while since I'd seen a dead body. I shivered, but I managed a nod in sign of respect. There is a sorrow on me. I'm sorry. I'd long stopped believing in anything. But if there was any time to pray for my soul, it would be now. I rummaged in my bag and pulled out a medical kit. I looked at the body, unsure how I was going to proceed. I knew the theory, but doing it to someone who had been dead for over a few hundred years was different to this. This was still a man. Right, I'm going to turn you, sir. Don't worry, you'll still be comfortable. Flipping a dead body was always a lot more difficult than you'd expect. Bodies, when they weren't yet deteriorated nor alive to roll themselves around, turned out to be quite heavy. I spent minutes struggling to get the man on his side. He flopped over, rather indignantly. I winced. Sorry. I set a hand drill against the back of his skull. I tried not to think too much about my hand touching his cold skin. I pushed the point into his skin and started to twist the drill. It took a while to get through the skull, but when it did, it shot through the bone and into something soft. I gritted my teeth. I had never done any procedures that weren't for the purpose of helping someone. This felt wrong. Focus, Willow. If I was off by an inch, this opportunity was wasted. I inserted a small needle and slid it through the hole I just created in the skull. I knew the theory. I needed the pineal gland. But as a paramedic, I hadn't necessarily gone around extracting people's memories. I held my breath and tried to trust in my knowledge. This should be it. I, very slowly, started to extract greyish-red goo. It seemed to still be in great condition. Relief flooded me. This might actually work. I kept going until nothing but a few clumps were coming out. I didn't want to suck out brain matter and muddle the retrieval. That would take another day of filtering. The entire road back, I felt as if someone was following me. I tried not to look too suspicious as I sped through the underground in my hover in the middle of the night. I didn't have much time. The procedure would take a few bells and I didn't know when Rhea was going to go into the mines. She was such an ass for ditching us. As if we hadn't deserved the trust nor friendship in the 5 moonspans we had been together on that hover. Let alone that we needed this job as much as she did, maybe even more. She could cozy up to her family in the vanguard. In the best case, Tuula and I would spend all our lives paying off our debts. In the worst case, we and our families would end up on the streets. I parked the hover close to my house and checked over my shoulder before hurrying to my front door. I made sure my extracting gear was properly hidden before I stepped in. The couch was empty. I didn't expect Rhea to be there, but it somehow disappointed me further. The artificial lighting in the underground told me dawn was breaking. The kitchen was a mess. I had been doing this process on a camping stove for the past moons, and having the whole kitchen should have made it a lot easier, but somehow it didn't feel that way. And it didn't look that way either. My ponytail now sagged at the base of my neck and sweat clung to me. It had taken bells to get it exactly right. Extracting memories from dried remains took longer as the process of rehydration was involved. But by now I could do that process in my dreams. This involved techniques I hadn't quite mastered. And if I messed this up... I looked at the vial of thick, clear fluid. It clung to the flask like a syrup. This memory was pristine, fresh. It had only taken someone to die. I already felt a strange pressure behind my ear. My hand shook as I cleaned the needle. Just do it. Whatever could go wrong. I connected the needle to the flask with the tube. What would be the best place to sit? Or should I lie down? I didn't have professional equipment to make an IV, so it would have to be makeshift. I looked around the small room. I stepped on my threadbare but comfortable chair and set the flask on top of the shelf. I then secured it with books to make sure it didn't smash on top of me. With trembling hands, I sat down and took the needle. My sweaty fingers left marks all over the flask. This better be worth it. I closed my eyes, set the needle against the soft skin under my ear, and shoved it in. It wasn't instant. I watched an air bubble rise to the surface in the glass flask, pop. And then, reality faded away. It was as if someone pulled me into a water tank, except that the water felt more like oil. Everything dissolved into that thick liquid. For a moment I thought everything was going black, but no, that wasn't right. It was the mine shaft I stood in, dark and cold. I shivered. I wanted to step forward, but the thought came and went, and then the thoughts didn't come anymore, but were replaced by something else. Exhaustion and determination. I had been working all day. I could smell my own sweat. My arms were tired from swinging the pickaxe up and down and up and down.
My headlamp shone on the dark wall. Although there wasn't anything special about it, I knew there were riches beyond. I didn't care. It didn't cross my mind anymore that I could pocket those. I would be checked at the gates and fired. And then what? My stomach grumbled, but I continued in the same rhythm as all the hewers next to me.
Oi! What was that?
His words echoed around the cavern. I didn't look up.
Keep going!
My axe came down again, chipping away at the wall.
Nah, I swear, I heard something.
No one responded. The rhythmic hammering continued. The man stopped again. This time I looked up. He was staring down the mine shaft.
Keep going!
The explosion blasted away my words. I wasn't sure if it was me or the explosion who threw down my body. I hid myself under my arms. The ground trembled. I didn't want to get up. My body was tired from working all day. Even the adrenaline wasn't enough to stop me from wanting to fall asleep here. But I knew I couldn't keep lying here. Something was stomping around. Something other than the mine workers or the mine carts pulling stones up to the surface. I dared look up. It was completely dark. My lamp no longer sat on my head. But I was alive. I ran towards the sound of the mine carts. If I could hitch a ride to the surface, I'd be safe. My legs trembled under me. I hadn't taken more than 2 steps when I tripped over and fell. My knees split open. I didn't know what it was, but it sounded like a nightmare. Everything trembled because of it. I ignored the pain and started to crawl. A beam shone a few meters up ahead, illuminating the falling dust. A headlamp. I crawled towards it and grabbed it. It was wrapped around someone's head, but whoever it was didn't protest to me taking it. With trembling hands, I placed the lamp on my head. It lit up the destruction. The small beam showed rocks smashed down on the entire row of miners that had been standing next to me. I got to my feet and started to run, following the tracks into the mining shaft. There were bodies mangled beyond recognition. My knees screamed in pain, but I ran purely on adrenaline. Something was with us, doing this. The next roar shook me. I nearly toppled over again, but I forced myself to keep running. Please, ancient mother from where you reside under the mountains, protect us from whatever dwells here. There was a stomping behind me and it became louder. I've served you, believed in you, sent half of my earnings to you. Please protect me and thereby my family that relies on me. It is not my time. Please. This time the roar did knock me over. Or was it the beast? I slammed to the ground. Screaming, I rolled on my back. The beam shone straight onto the black eyes of something. Something big and reptilian. Everything from its claws to its teeth looked like the surrounding rocks. And when it roared, it showed the blood stained inside of its maw. Please! It came closer. The explosion had ripped a tear in the beast's belly, but I wasn't sure if it was the beast's blood or the miner's blood that clung to it. I tried to get up. If only I could get to a pickaxe, a weapon of some sort. But the beast lunged forward, its teeth closed around my arm. Pain lit up like fire. The monster pulled me off the ground and shook me around like a toy. I soared through the mine shaft. The headlamp smashed against the rock next to me and the cavern fell into darkness. I waited for the beast to come for me, but I heard it on the other side of the cavern. I knew I wasn't dead, but it was coming. I felt it pull at me. It was dragging me slowly towards the edge, and every second of it hurt. I didn't know how long, just that I had enough time to think, to really feel it. At least I couldn't see the damage to my arm, but I felt it. Adrenaline no longer numbed the pain. Guilt gnawed at me. This would be their death too. My beautiful daughters. The hunger would gnaw at them for weeks until it took them away. Or they would catch a virus. Or worse, sell their memories, trade their innocence and their brains to save their younger sister and their mother. But the beast had left us for dead, not even worthy to feed on. The cave was silent but for the moans of others close to death. Another jolt of pain shot through my arm, or what was left of it. Even if I got out of here, even if they saved me, I would no longer be of use. With my good arm, I grabbed around me, felt for something sharp or heavy. My hand folded around a sharp piece of stone, a shard perhaps that had come loose from the monster. I felt for the tip and aimed it at myself. I drove the shard into my chest. Once, twice, thrice, until I no longer could. Blood gushed out. I coughed, wet and gurgling. And eventually,
not long after, either blood loss or the pain dragged me under. I woke up on the floor, gasping. The flask tumbled from the shelf and smashed on the ground. It was empty. I was on my hands and knees. Everything was wet from sweat. My body was trembling. I convulsed until my stomach was empty, until all I could do was lay on the floor and cry.
Wake Up New Vilirth is created, produced and written by Lisa van Hees. Directed and co-produced by Iris-sanne van der Aar. Our brilliant team of voices consists of Carré Albers as Willow, Sigrid van Setten as Rhea, Swaeske Dooper-de Vries as Tuula, Liam van Poorten as Konstantin, Samantha Bonouvrie as Sasha, Fey Lehiane as Nadya, Yannick Staal as Kazimir, Freya Terpstra as Ulva. Klay van Peer as Isno. Fey Lehiane, Lin Schalken, Joris van de Waterbeent, Tom van 't Hull and Daan Helmendach as our radio hosts. And Reno van Oostrum, Ezra Menard, and Isa Marley as our supporting voices. Sound recording by Lisa van Hees and Jonas van Impe. Sound design by Lode Woltersom. Music by Freya Terpstra and Teun Zeidner. Radio design by Joris van de Waterbeent. Directing assistance by Tom van 't Hull. Production assistance by Demi Oude-Elverink, Femke Bruil, Robert Kersies and Isa Marley. And cover art by Matt Roodhuizen. For a full list of our wonderful team, go to wakeupnewvilirth.com. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed your stay.